Yo, what's up? I'm gonna do like a trade recap. I just finished with this trade, and I got a couple other trades I want to show you that I took. So this trade I took on S&P Mini, and I was in confluence with the Nasdaq. We saw an S&T, bearish S&T. Nasdaq was making lower highs. So, okay, this is bearish. 8:30, you know, we had core PPI, which came out greater than forecast, which is good for currency. So that means it's good for the dollar um, at 8:30 and kind of see like a little pop here. Um, so which pretty much means if it's good for currency, it's bad for stocks, right? So it's inversely correlated. And yeah, so 9:30 market open. It was kind of choppy. I didn't know really what to look for. I was kind of waiting for something. Um, and there was a 15-minute fair value gap right here, and there was a 5-minute fair value gap right here. So I was kind of seeing how price was reacting off those. Initially, we had price come down into here, into this fair value gap, but didn't really go anywhere. And like I said, I was looking for short since it was a bearish S&T. Uh, yeah, and so we had price come down into here, and I took a trade up in here. So this was like a strong, not strong, but like price was, gravitating towards this area, this fair value gap, and I saw a strong reaction off this going down. So like, okay, it's a good entry, before it's too late, 10:30, and maybe it could have been a little more clear on what I was looking for. Like this is kind of messy, honestly. But we had price come up in here, and it was in the 1 minute at this time. It's like, okay, yeah, price came down. It failed to go higher, came down here and tested this fair value gap. And I would call it like an inverse fair value gap. I mean, because it's been going, price has gone up off of it, but not very far. But I think the reactions going down were a lot stronger. I could have taken a trade around here. I missed the opportunity. Happened too fast. So I waited for it to come back up in this area. I took a short right here. And you can see that trade for today. And yeah, it was weird because like I actually set a sell stop, which actually bought more. I tried doing another one and it doubled that and bought more. So I had to close that position, but it was still like around the same area. So I've still sold it all around here. Maybe I got like a little bit more to the downside right here with the 16 contracts, but I don't even know if it made up for my commissions. But I was pretty much break even with those extra contracts I bought on accident. Um, so yeah, I can show you. Here's my. So I was actually trading with a $100,000 account originally. Now I'm switching over to a demo account. Um, and that's my profit today after commissions, 492. And yeah, I feel like 25,000 is more reasonable. I have a lot of money in crypto, and this bull cycle, I'm looking to take that money and put it back into the market and trade with real money. Can trade with $25,000. That's what I'm aiming for. Right now, I'm just practicing. Like I said, this is like futures trading, and I'm new to this. If you watch my other video, so yeah, that was today's trade. Um, Honestly, I would have probably rather taken a trade on Nasdaq. It was ES was the lagging and was lagging behind. Um, yeah, and so this would have been my take profit too today, but um, I don't know why I didn't do a take profit too. Honestly, I think as of now, this would have this could hit. But I was just not feeling it, so I just wanted to take my money and run. Because, like I said, this was kind of like choppy up here, and I was able to find something that worked. But like I said, it's not like that great of a trade. And so I traded Nasdaq. Oh, let's see, and this red line that's like equal lows. You can see like right here. It's I don't know why it's probably should delete it, but price has been interesting things have been happening around that area, so I kept it. And so my other trade on Nasdaq was, let's see, that was Friday. Yeah, it was kind of a bad trade honestly because it was late in the day. And I traded with this other account. I traded on the Sim 101, and it was like one contract. I meant to put four contracts in, but I didn't. I only traded one contract. So it was only like $157 in profit. Nothing too crazy. That's like point literally like 0.1% of the account trading. So I probably should be trading with more like 10 contracts with $100,000 account. And this account I traded with four contracts today, which is about like 2.5% of the account. So I'm a little more risky, which is fine. So if I lose a trade, I'll just go back to 1% and just keep bouncing back and forth. Um, so I'm just gonna stick with that. Yeah, so the trade I took on Friday, there was a bullish SMT. Show down like the 15 minute. Friday. Here we go. Yeah, so you can see ES and Nasdaq. There was a bullish S&P on the Nasdaq, so ES was the lagging one. Um, so I figured I'd take trade on Nasdaq, looking for longs. Zoom down to the 1 minute. Whoa, it's not what I want to be. Why is it going all the way back? All right, so I took a trade based on a couple confluences. One, so I was waiting for price. Um, and I took a trade. You can see right here, this fair value gap. I think it's on the 5 minute. It was so it got disrespected. This would have been a bullish fair value gap on the 5 minute time frame. And so what happened is price broke right through it and then treated it as an inverse fair value gap. So that's actually kind of bearish. So I took a trade like right here. Um, why does it do that? It's all the way back on the 1 minute. All right, I'm just gonna stay on the 1 minute. This is so okay. All right, so I took a trade like right around here, and then I kind of should have waited because as you can see before, this was disrespecting this bullish fair value gap. Now it's an inverse fair value gap, and so price came up in here, and bam, like I took the trade and almost it kind of went up, and then came all the way down here, and my stop loss was at this low, and yeah, I almost got stopped out. And so honestly, what I would have done next time is I would have waited for break a structure right here and then taken a trade off that, or break a structure and then like little, I don't even know if it's like a drawable fair value gap, but like a fair value gap off that little, and then taking a trade, like waiting for it to retrace and taking a trade and waiting for that to come down in the zone. And then as you can see, it completely just broke through this because before it was treating it as inverse fair value gap, and price was reacting negatively off of this, and it just broke right through. And so I took profit at these highs right here. So that was the last trade before literally this trade I took on ES on Friday. And yeah, and also the other confluence was I was looking for, I know what this is. Maybe I was waiting for like another trade. Um, but this is like, yeah, I would completely ignore this. I don't know why I drew that out. This is probably after I took the trade. I wanted to see what would happen. But yeah, that was my trade, and traded one contract, $157. Probably should trade it with 10. That could have been a $1,500 trade, but I didn't do that. I don't know. I think I accidentally pressed one contract instead of multiple, and I didn't feel like entering back in, so I just let it play out. And then, all right, so let's do, now we're going to crypto. But taking three trades on crypto. Okay, so yeah, this was my first trade. Um, I saw, let's go back like to the daily. So I'm thinking it's more, so you kind of see like this trend. We're in this holding pattern. Um, Look at that. Price came like right down to this imbalance right here on the 4 hour. Beautiful. Actually, that's a weekly imbalance. Look at that. Yeah. That's been a crazy trade. I had this marked out. I actually saw it go down into here. I just wasn't in the right position to take a trade. Um, so here we go. I really look at the 1 hour. So my thesis was here on this trade, a continuation trade. So there was a fair value gap. I think it's like in the 15 minute. It's like a retracement into, yeah, so it's a 15-minute fair value gap. I took a trade right around here. It entered this fair value gap on 5 minute, and then so, yeah, so this whole move from here to here, bottom to top, I drew it out with a GAN box. And so one, price was in a premium. So when I'm looking for longs, I'm waiting for price to come down below this 0.5, which is 50%. So it came down in here. So that was one of my confluences. It came down into my premium zone, and also I was waiting for a break of structure. And so I saw that happen right here. It doesn't look 1 minute. I don't want to go to 1 minute because I think the chart's gonna go. I'm gonna have to try to find this again. So I'll wait for a break of structure around here, took a trade entry, and this trade played out for almost 2 days, I think. 11, 12. Yeah, like a day and a half. And so it happened. I was actually in the car, doing Uber, and I happened to be on break and was waiting for something, and it came down into the zone while I was like on break, and I waited for a break structure right there and took a trade. And then I drew my stop loss just below the fair value gap. And as you can see, I got stopped out by 300 points, basically. Or, yeah, I barely got stopped out, like less than 100 points or something like that. Um, and I don't think, yeah, so actually, if that didn't happen right here, this little stop, I'm gonna analyze this. I don't know if I really needed to take my stop loss a little bit down more, but I think it was pretty decent. So yeah, this trade would have played out if I didn't my stop didn't get taken. I mean, it would have been a roller coaster. I mean, look, it would have taken 3 days, 2 days to play out. It would have came back up here, down in this zone. That would have still been safe trade. Then I would have taken profit up here. So this is all like auto, like limit take profit orders. And so yeah, and then my next trade was this trade right here. So I was looking at 4 hour. I should go to 1 hour, 15 minutes. So you can see right here, I have this line marked out, and that was my one of my confluences. I waited for price to come up here. It was drawing towards buy side liquidity, taking this out, sweep. So I was at the computer and I got an alert for this breaking, this sweeping liquidity. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for shorts. So what I did was, yeah, so I waited for price to come back down, create a market imbalance, and it did. So price came back down in here, and on the 1 minute, it's probably a little bit better. How does it do that? I wanted to go like where I was last. Okay. Yeah, so pretty much, yeah, so waiting for price to come down, and then this bullish fair value gap actually became bearish because now price came up into here and it reacted to the downside. It didn't like this area. So I took a trade like right around here, and I saw these wicks, which is like another strong indicator for me to take a trade. Like it was okay, like I'm getting in a little bit earlier. I'm not waiting for a price to break structure, down here. So normally I would have like waited for a price to come out of this and like broken structure right there. But it was like a really strong trade entry. So I was like, okay, liquidity sweeps are probably one of my strongest trade entries. Um, Liquidity sweep, fair value gap, inverse, price comes into there, comes down, and I usually set my take profit to like this low. And I don't know why I did it like right here, but normally I set it to like at previous lows. Because sometimes they get stopped out early, or like price will just get really close and come up, and like it just messes with you sometimes. Well, this has been a crazy trade. Look, I would have taken this trade all the way down to trend line. Yeah. So it came, it was, this was my trade right here. It came all the way down, came crashing down and grabbed liquidity in this weekly imbalance. Like I said, I could have had more take profits. I think my next take profit would have, yeah. So like here was one of them, this low, and then if you really wanted to, you could, that'd have been a really good trade, taking out this low, and it did. It took all these out. So that would have been a really, really good trade. Let's see what it would look like. Just curious. A 1 to 15 risk reward. That's insane. Yeah, so that's that trade. So I lost that one, won this trade. Um, about like I think I'm a little more than break even with these two trades combined at this point. Then I took a trade yesterday. So this is a big fair value gap right here, and price has been coming up in here and respecting it very well. Every time it's been bullish. This time it was bearish, came up in here. Now it treated like an inverse fair value gap price. Did not respect it, came down and then retested up in here and then came all the way down to the weekly imbalance. So I was thinking, okay, this is not the best trade. Um, by far, I probably regret taking this one. I was at the gym and I looked at my phone and I got a price alert and it was in my zone. And I'm like, okay, let's see. So I came down and here and pretty much was just waiting for break a structure out of this. I think I had jumped the gun a little too early. It was like right here. Yeah, this is a pretty bad trade. I took, I was like waiting for this to break structure, and it did, but it came right back up and tested this area and then just completely broke through it. And then we got a nice little run up here. But yeah, that was one of the trades I lost. It was not a great risk reward, honestly. Um, I should have waited for more confirmation, like a better entry where like a fair value gap, you know, like maybe I could have waited for an entry on a inverse fair value gap or something. But none of those, like this was pretty choppy, so it wasn't that great. I was relying on this old, imbalance right here. I try to like see if price comes down and make something out of it, and then it comes back up into a fair value gap where I can have an extra imbalance to play off of, or confluence. Like this could have been a liquidity sweep, but this time it's a fair value gap. Like the other trade was a liquidity sweep. That was a pretty strong trade, and um, yeah, that was a great trade. This one, not so much. I'm kind of regretting, and I was at the gym, like I said, so not the best time to trade. So yeah, um that's it for me today. Those are my trade recaps, and see you guys on the flip.